grab the other automatic promotion slot. Well, this afternoon could go some way to deciding the outcome when Barnsley in second play Wolves in third. Barnsley are attempting to reach the top flight for the first time in their near 100-year history. Like last week, Gerald Sinstad has been sunning himself in the north.
The glamorous life of the professional footballer, part 2. Last week, Chesterfield and Bradford.
Do you think Football Focus are completely nuts, asking you to stand on a hill in the pouring rain, Chris?
I'll do anything to be on the telly.
This week, Barnsley.
It's raining again.
But to be fair to South Yorkshire, later in the day, the sun came out. Just as, for much of this season, Barnsley Football Club have been enjoying the unfamiliar glow of success. This at a club which has never, in more than a century, played in English football's top division. The man who can guide them there now is Danny Wilson in his first management job.
It's still a big learning process for myself. You know, I'm not daft enough to get carried away that because we're in a position we're in the league it's quite easy, because I know it's not. You know, and there's a lot of managers out the game who are very, very experienced. I'm just finding myself very lucky I'm still in the job at the moment.
I think any chairman of any football club would in my position standing here, would say that the choosing of managers is not a particularly exact science. So any decision as to who you appoint as manager is a gamble, whoever it may be. In the case of Danny, yeah, it was a gamble, but we have a little bit of inside knowledge too.
As a player, Danny Wilson earned a couple of dozen caps for Northern Ireland, learned his trade at 7 clubs under a variety of managers. His current squad is a good blend of the tried and the promising. Paul Wilkinson was signed in the close season as a big front man. 3 months later, John Hendrie arrived to renew the partnership they'd enjoyed at Middlesbrough.
Good flick on by Wilkinson. Oh, here's Hendrie with a great chance. 1-1. Well taken by John Hendrie.
I used to play at Wade for a few years when I was at Borough, and let's say when Bernie Slaven when Bernie finished, Lenny Lawrence pushed me up front with Paul, and from then it's just clicked. It has.
And here's Wilkinson. Defender slipped, and Wilkinson has scored.
Now we tend to play with near enough 3 up front with Andy Liddle just in behind, and you know it requires a lot more movement, the game nowadays, and the way the game's progressing. You know, you have to be a mobile front 3 rather than just, as I say, a static front 2, small man, big man.
Barnsley's international investments, though not spectacular, have been shrewd. A couple of Dutchmen, a Serbian, a Trinidadian. And one Dutchman is relishing today's meeting with Wolves. But is he de Zeeuw or de Zeeuw?
It's really de Zeeuw. Actually, it was my first game, Wolves at home. So that was a good challenge for me. Like, I've seen Steve Wool play for the national team. So I thought that's brilliant. That's well, the best game you can start, really, for a home crowd and do well, and you get them straight behind you.
How did you get on against him?
All right, to be honest. He was a bit nagging at me sometimes, but it's probably because I had quite a good game that day. And, well, centre-forwards tend to get a bit upset if you stay really close to them and don't let them get the ball.
Martin Bullock, not yet 22, is one for the future. Already with nearly 100 appearances, but many of them from the subs bench.
He's a type of player who, you know, he puts the crowd on the edge of the seat, if you like. But it's very difficult because it's a very physical league, you know, the First Division, as is the Premier, you know, and I think you have to be very careful with boys now and again, you know, as to and when they play.
Ambition tempered with sensible housekeeping at Oakwell. It's developing a team and a stadium with an eye on seasons to come, and it seems to be working.
Yeah, it is at the moment. If we were bottom of the league, we'd be saying it differently.
But they're not bottom of the league, they're near the top of the league, Ray, and Danny Wilson's done a fine job there, hasn't he?
Done a remarkable job, Gary, yeah. They're really flying. I think the signing of John Hendrie was a masterstroke. He's obviously proven quality. He's scored goals for Middlesbrough. Just unfortunately, he couldn't get a game at Middlesbrough, and I think that signing's been absolutely fantastic for him. But Danny's done a great job.
If we look at the top of Division 1, it's quite spaced out. Bolton look obvious favourites to go up. Then there's, of course, today's teams, Wolves and Barnsley. But after that, the playoffs bring everyone in contention, don't they?
They do. I saw Crystal Palace a couple of weeks ago play Bradford, and Crystal Palace were quite exceptional. The week after they went to Wolves and won 3-0. Palace do try and play some lovely stuff. Ray Lewington and Dave Bassett have really got them playing some good football, and I think Palace will be there. I wouldn't write Queen's Park Rangers up.
I was going to say, your old
I think
club
they've got every chance of getting in that playoff section. I definitely wouldn't write them off. But it's going to, again, I think the good thing about it, Gary, it's going to go right to the wire once again.
Is it frustrating to see QPR down there in the First Division, having?
Well, obviously, you know, I've obviously felt that we were Premier League standard last year, but unfortunately we made some bad errors and we lost games and we got relegated. But I still feel that they have the quality there to be a Premier League side, and I think they'll get back up this year.
Ray, that was your first managerial experience. Are you looking to get back involved in it, or do you see yourself playing a few more years?
I don't know, the old cliche, I've had more clubs than Jack Nicklaus. But no, I would like to have a game, but ultimately I would love to get back in it. The very, very sad thing about football management, Gary, is that you have to wait for someone to lose their job, which is a very sad state of affairs. But that's our life. I would love to have another bash.
And the Barnsley chairman said it's not an exact science picking managers either, it's always a bit of a gamble.
I think it's always a gamble, no matter who you employ. He spoke very well there. He's made a good choice.